good evening, and welcome back to my Saturday night movie night. It is me, Krista's Beauty, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I also have today my little special guest, Fiona. You see her in a lot of my other videos, but you know, she is definitely wanting all of my attention right now, so we're gonna be doing this together. Every Saturday night we sit down and watch a spooky, scary movie. And this movie of the week will be Carrie, as you can see here, the remake. Before we hop into that, if you are new here watching on YouTube, welcome. Do yourself a favor, hit the subscribe bell icon to be notified when I upload new videos. I'll be uploading a Saturday night movie night every Saturday, headed all the way up to Halloween. So let's go ahead in with the spooky. So released in 2013, Carrie is a modern reimagination of, first off, the Stephen King novel, but it's mainly a remake of the 1976, I think that's right, 1976, yeah, or no, 77, one of the two, 76, 77, original by Brian De Palma. And it is a pretty accurate remake. It's almost, in a lot of different scenes, very shot for shot in a lot of ways. But again, bringing it very modernized, very, in 2013 they had very popular songs in it and cell phones, basically like things that you would be focusing on in a modern 2000s high school, not, the 70s. But I don't know. I kind of love the 70s nostalgia of rewatching Carrie. I mean, it's definitely one of my all-time favorite films. And the remake, I mean, it does a really good... It does it justice, basically. Like, it's a really, really good remake. With that being said, it's really the exact same plot of the original movie. I can't really speak to the book. I tried to read the book once and just kind of barely read bits and pieces in high school. I can't really remember how it ended, if I even read the ending. And that was, again, high school, so over 10 years ago. But it's basically the exact same plot of the original De Palma film, where you have Carrie, who's in high school. She's showering, all of a sudden gets her period. The girls in the locker room make fun of her, all of that. Fast forward to her mom is just crazy, controlling, conservative, religious, almost Baptist, you would think, and believes that the blood is basically from sin, and eventually, there's a really bad practical joke played on her at prom where they crown her prom queen and then dump a whole bunch of pig's blood over top of her, to symbolize her getting her period and all that. But little did they know, when she got her period and went into womanhood, she now has, psychic telekinesis. That's what it is, telekinesis powers, so she can do things with her mind, basically. So once that little stunt happens, she kills everyone in prom, and it's definitely one of the greatest scenes. I will say the remake, it's all right. It's just not as good, just because, I don't know, CGI, I think in a lot of ways can really make or break, and I don't know if this was something that we should have been doing that way and not using, practical effects with. But, to each their own. Also, I will say the biggest problem, I think, for me personally in the remake, is the music. And not just in that scene. I mean, that scene especially, but all throughout the movie. It's just the music. And that's probably a preference thing. But, I don't know. It felt almost like the music was kind of almost like how some slasher movies in particular in like the early 2000s, they almost felt more like an action movie because it was very fast paced and the music kind of made it feel that way. Well, that's how the remake of Carrie's prom scene felt. It just felt very like an action movie almost. Another thing I don't really like about it, I am just partial to the original, but I really don't like, what is it, Chloe... I can't think of her last name, but the girl who plays Carrie in the remake, when she is doing things with her mind, especially the prom scene, she kind of like has her hands in with it, almost like she's orchestrating it, which to me makes you think that this is premeditated, where I've always liked the idea personally of the whole prom incident kind of being almost like instinctive, like it was just kind of reactionary, where she got hurt and before she knew it, like she had thoughts and then they happened. I never really thought as deliberate, and that was just kind of how it seemed like Sissy Spacek portrayed it in the original. So I mean, again, like different strokes for different people, like everyone's gonna like and prefer different things, and I'm probably just partial to the original for the music, the aesthetic, I mean the whole vibe to it. But the remake is still really good. A few fun facts for anyone interested. I didn't realize this, but it does make sense. This is the first screen adaptation of Carrie because, yeah, you have the original with Sissy Spacek. There's also one that came out in the early 2000s. I think that was more made for TV. And she, again, was an adult. And yeah, this is the first time you have a real teenager, which makes sense, playing, Carrie. So apparently, these are two things that I'm reading that, are scenes that happen in the book that didn't happen, and not only this, but the original Carrie film either. So originally in the Stephen King novel, Carrie actually doesn't stand on the stage after the prank of the blood on her and attack everyone. She actually, blood spills, she retreats and runs outside, kind of, upset about the whole situation, and then from the window goes in and starts attacking the whole, prom school, basically. But in all three films, actually, they always end up, with Carrie standing there on the stage in front of everyone, kind of looking at everyone and killing them, basically. Another one, and I did know this because I read this part in the book that has kept with me. Originally, the film was supposed to begin with a scene from the novel in which a young Carrie wanders to the yard next door, and finds a teenage neighbor sunbathing, actually naked too, and it's a whole thing. Anyway, both films were supposed to have this scene. This one is actually in the second refilm in the 2000s. But for the original it's 1976, they cut that as well as they cut it in this version as well. So that is my basic rundown, thoughts, and feelings about the remake with a little bit of the original, because you gotta these two are so similar, you kind of gotta put them side by side almost to talk about them. But overall, I really, really like the remake. And like I said, as far as remakes go, it's a really good one, basically because it's pretty shot for shot almost in a lot of ways. And I think in some really classic films, De Palma definitely, when he got the rights for this and basically got the approval from Stephen King to do it, Stephen King came up with the idea, the story, whatever, but De Palma's just execution of this film, it's timeless, and it's just the direction in which he did this. It's one of those, if you are to do a remake, you kind of do have to do it shot for shot and just modernize it, because the art is so good from De Palma's original vision. You just can't really mess with it. It would be like messing with John Carpenter's. Anytime anyone does try to, and you don't pay respect to the original, it just doesn't come out quite as well, is my personal opinion anyway. So that is my basic rundown then for Carrie. Let me know down in the comments, do you like the remake of Carrie from 2013? Do you have a preference as far as one that you prefer, or do you like them both? Does anyone prefer the remake over the original? I would be very interested in that. I mean, I guess if you saw that one first, or maybe you were a kid or something. So, I don't know. I am curious to see what your thoughts are on this movie. Thank you so much for watching another Saturday Night Movie Night. Stay tuned for next Saturday when we have another spooky, scary movie for you. I hope you all have a great, awesome, horrific week, and I will see you all next week. Stay spooky.